So, welcome everyone. Let us start. And before we take up the readings for today, let's invoke Mother's Sri Aurobindo's presence. So, today we have to take up this recurrent illnesses and the subconscient. Last time, again, we were exploring how subconscient actually, which is a thing of patterns and habits that rules us, our conscious mind. So last time we were reading about that, and we were also, the takeaway message was for most of us, I hope, that whenever anything from the subconscient rises, as Mother says, that is the point where you can become conscious of it. That is, it has uprisen, it has risen to the surface, and there we can work on it and transform that negative or loopy pattern, or some limiting belief that we may have, which we were not aware of earlier. So whenever it rises up, we can then become aware and transmute it and transform it there and then. So this is what Mother was sharing last time. Yeah. The method is to change the subconscious into the conscious. If each thing that rises to the surface becomes conscious, at that moment it must be changed. So this is what we were exploring. So today we have to take this new passage. It's a longer one, so we'll take it in bits and pieces. If anyone would like to read a little bit of it and maybe stop wherever you deem fit, you can unmute and please read.
Okay, from the title?
Yes.
Recurrent illnesses and the subconscient. Mother, there are people who suffer from certain illnesses year after year, don't they? If one observes the illness, one sees that it comes at a particular time of the year, and this is repeated the next year also, and so on. But the time is fixed. Then what is the reason, and how can one get rid of it? Mother says, there could be many reasons. It depends on the person you ask. If you ask an astrologer, he will tell you it is the stars. When the stars come into the same position, the same condition recur. Well, this is not so far from the truth. It can be like that. It can also be an individual reaction to certain climatic conditions, or to the position of the sun, or it may be quite simply a bad habit, that's all. And if by chance it has happened to you twice in succession, then you have a nice formation, you see, which remains like this in the subconscient without showing itself. If you don't observe it, and then when the time draws near, very gently, it gives you a push from within to tell you, take care, the time is coming, the time is coming, the time is coming. So naturally it happens too. Usually it is something like that. But almost everything that happens physically, it's like that. The first time, it may be simply a combination of circumstances. Then the mind intervenes and makes a construction.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we can take a pause here. Thank you. Yes. So this is very interesting, and I'm sure some of us may have a practical experience of it in our lives, because at times we have seasonal manifestations. The weather changes and then we are prone to some or other kind of a disharmony in the being. And as mother says that uh, if it happens once more in the same condition, then actually we begin to think that, oh, this has to actually happen to me every time the season changes, because this is how it happens with me. And it becomes part of our ego identity almost. And there is something in us which doesn't want to leave it now. So, like that, so mother says that if by chance it has happened to you twice in succession, then you have a nice formation. So inside of us we are forming a formation. We are not even seeing that formation, it is getting formed as if by default. Being unconscious, most of us really, we are mostly in that unconscious state of life. So that formation forms because we are not conscious. And then mother says, if by chance it happens to you twice in succession, then you see it remains like a formation in the subconscient without showing itself if you don't observe it. And then when the time draws near, very gently it gives you a push from within to tell you, take care, the time is coming, the time is coming, as if we are totally overpowered by that formation, that we know that it just has to happen. I have no other way around it. So naturally it happens too, because some part of our being becomes ready for it. Usually it is something like that. But almost everything that happens physically is like that. The first time it may be a simple combination of circumstances, then the mind intervenes and makes a construction. So this is very, very important, because most of us have some or the other thing which repeats itself. It may be period related cramps that it repeats every month. It may be some seasonal allergy that we have. It may be some food related illness also, that whenever we eat this or that, we know that our being will get disturbed. So something or the other, we actually, something in the being begins to want it almost. But first time, mother says, first time it may happen just like a combination of circumstances. But then if repetition is there, then something in the being begins to think that, oh, like this has to happen because now the situation is like that, or the weather is like that. So that completely has to, again we will read further what mother suggests on that, but that completely has to go away. So mother says at another instant that no part of our being should want to fall ill. Nothing in my being should want to be ill. Because most of the times we also fall ill because we feel that we will get attention, or the rest that we wanted to have, maybe now we will get some rest because we will not able to stop really, and we wanted to stop. So disease also gives us a chance to stop. So why not take rest beforehand only, and why why to manifest a disease in order to stop? So that is something, all these stumblings and errors, the more we go through them, we realize that I can rest without having a disease. What is the point of having the disease first and then resting? So yeah, I think very, very practical, something from the mother, and it's just a part of our own experimentation with our own being, and whenever things happen with us, so that whenever it rises to the surface and is ready to like overpower us once more, there and then we can catch it, and then no part of our being should be wanting to come back to that illness again. So otherwise something in us feels very weak, and it knows that, oh yeah, time has come and I have to go through it, something like that. So yeah, anything here, anyone? And again, subconscient, last time we were reading, for those of us who may have not attended the last session, that subconscient is that part of us which is made of patterns and habits. And most often than not, we are not aware of these patterns and habits. And that is why it is not fully conscious. It is half conscious in the sense that the pattern is running, but we are not conscious of this pattern ruling us. So that's how it is working at a undercurrent level, but it is ruling our life. Those patterns and behavior patterns, or the body patterns, or thinking patterns, feeling patterns, they are ruling our life, but I'm not aware of it. And that is why affirmations work very, very beautifully to change the subconscious, because there also we do repetition. Subconscious also is a part of repetition. It repeats itself. Same thing repeats itself every year, every season, like that. So when we affirm to change a loopy pattern, a negative pattern, that also, because of that repetition, it goes deep down in the being and it changes then that pattern which has become negative. So that is one of the reasons why affirmation have really lots of potency if we give it a chance to work. And we were reading last time also, we were discussing, I feel, that we are affirming all the time something or the other in our head, and according to that our life manifests in front of us, unfolds in front of us. So if my affirmations, my thoughts and feelings have such a power that they can manifest a disease, then it means they can also unmanifest a disease and manifest health also. So we are affirming all the time. What do we choose to affirm is the question. Yeah, anything here? Anyone wants to share anything?
Would like to share. The patterns which you are telling, it's like I have this migraine headache. Sorry. So sometimes it's like when I'm stressed out, it comes naturally. But there are some times when some difficult situation or something is going to happen. Even before that, I get the headache. So, and I think I'm still not tense, but still I got the headache. So this usually happens with me, and it is so true that patterns, it's like manifesting them even before you get it. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. And that's what we were reading in the last session, that mother says that whenever it surfaces now
Mm-hmm.
and you see it coming,
Mm-hmm.
then some part of your being has to stress that no, I can go through the problem or the life situation, but I don't want to be ill. So that
Yeah.
solidity has to slowly arise, that I don't want to be ill. At times you pop a pill. I also used to have this something with the head, and the moment something in me decided that no point, I'm not going to fall ill, I have good work and I want to work and I want to give my time to good things. I actually realized that I took a half of a pill for headache and completely fine. Earlier I used to have very limitations and reservations that, oh no, I should not be taking medicine at all.
Mm.
But then I decided that nothing doing. I don't want to keep lying down, because it takes like 2 days, 3 days, and it's really a pain in the ass. And then
Exactly.
slowly it stopped coming. And of course, it can rise up again once in a while.
Yeah.
But something in us has to stop taking pleasure in that illness.
Mm.
जो मजा आता है ना, जो हम मजा लेते हैं बीमारी का.
Yeah. Yeah, even the attention which you said,
Yeah,
sometimes I also go for that. It's like
yeah,
somebody should keep asking me how you doing, like a
exactly.
child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it would stay. Then we can be sure, because we have invited it almost.
Yeah.
So if a guest has been invited to our place and he feels welcomed, why would he go away so soon? No? अगर आपने किसी को बुलाया है और आप समोसे पकोड़े वोट एवर छोले राजमा सब कुछ बना के उसके सामने आप रख रहे हो कि आइए आइए बैठिए, so why would he go away? So the guest doesn't need to be entertained at all. Yeah. As long as the entertainment is there for the guest, why would the guest leave? So I think slowly these things happen very, very slowly, and we have to be very kind to ourselves. Patterns take a long time to change fully. But now that you have started noticing it, that's a very good beginning in order to slowly actually not wanting to have that weakness or that illness just for the sake of people should give me attention. I can give me attention all the time. Be your best friend, and then slowly we are okay with ourselves without anyone giving us attention. The divine has given us so much of attention, we don't bother about that attention. But it's really strange how we crave for people's attentions, and as mother says, that this vital part of us which seeks attention and praise. So this we have to recognize now. All of us now slowly are becoming aware that these are parts of our being. This is not us. So when something in me seeks praise and attention, it is not me, it is the vital part of my being, lower vital. And I can actually step back, like, oh, something in me is wanting attention. Step back, don't follow that dictate, and you will be
Hmm.
fine. Usko distance, like you have to disentangle it. So first of all, it is me, the vital is entangled in me. But then slowly we become the witness, and we begin to see all these movements of wanting praise, wanting approval, people should give me attention, I want to rest. So this is all the vital. And when we disentangle, like we become the witness to see all these moods and ups and downs, then we have the power also to step back from their dictates. What their demands are, we don't have to follow that, because it is the
Hmm.
vital. Like a ziddi bacha, stubborn child. Yeah, so slowly, I think the more we become conscious, by these little steps, we can overpower all the weaknesses. And we all have the strength within to transcend these weaknesses, so that we become the master of our instrument, and we are not ruled by the instrument, which is thoughts, feelings, emotions. We are not ruled by it, but slowly we gain mastery over the instrument. Yeah. Anything more anyone wants to add or share?
Sometimes what I feel is these movements, these vital movements, are somehow like a force that propels us to act, generally not in the best way. And sometimes this act of detachment and witnessing helps to to take distance and come to a more neutral place. But sometimes I find, like, I'm not sure from where can I act having done this movement. What drives me? Like, for example, I am frustrated, or I feel hurt or something in my feelings, in a relationship, for example, with someone, and then I can put aside this, I can witness it, and abandon this motivation that at the same time takes you somewhere. But and then sometimes I feel this, like, okay, if I, from this witnessing point, what am I? How how do I relate with the other? What drives me? What if I don't let myself be catched by these desires I have, and I put aside my desires, then what do I have? Well,
Beautiful.
uh, like, um, what drives me to relate to the other without any
Yeah.
desire?
Yeah. So I think what you are sharing, and correct me if I have understood not correctly, usually how we relate with the world is a very, one can say, very sticky also, but a very passionate way. Like, wherever there is stickiness, there is also a lot of passion, mostly. And when we step back and take the witnessing stance, or try to take the witnessing stance, and kind of disentangle ourselves from the thoughts and the feelings, and more towards our true consciousness, if I can say, then it actually leads us to more impersonal way of living, actually, to which we are not used to. So one can actually, what you said, one can become confused that now how do I relate with the world, because it feels very impersonal and distanced. Is that correct?
Yes, for example, I don't know, I'm in a relationship, I have some ideas, some desires, the other one has his own desires, and we met, and we try to get each other. Okay, but sometimes we don't agree, we have some trouble there. So I can witness my own desires and say, okay, I don't want to be selfish. I want to, you know, uh, be disattached from this. So when I drop my desires, then what moves me, right? Oh, okay,
Beautiful.
I will do whatever the other one. I will go with the flow with whatever the other wants, because I don't want my desires to interfere. That doesn't seem to be also the right
Beautiful. Yes,
answer.
yes. I think it's very, very important what you just shared, because as Sri Aurobindo shares that we have a double soul. He uses the word double soul. He says man is born as a desire soul, but he has to move towards his true consciousness. And when we are moving towards our true consciousness, actually we have to go through a state of impersonality. What you just were sharing, that if I am desire free, or if in moments when I am desire free, how do I actually relate with the world? Now, this is where consciousness force, when Sri Aurobindo uses the term Sat Chit Ananda, you know, and Chit is consciousness, this thing, this makes me conscious, I'm conscious of the thought, I'm conscious that I'm stepping back from a desire. Consciousness is also coupled with empowerment, force, Chit Shakti, force, consciousness, force. And as Sri Aurobindo shares in at the other place, that consciousness also is like, it has given sanction to the desires, that by default I will be following the desires. So that is what we do most of the times. By default, all of us are moved by our desires. We all know that. That is by default. But when consciousness begins to awaken itself, it's like the more and more we become witness and conscious of the movements of Prakriti, which is desire, is one of the movements. Then we have the ability to withdraw the sanction, that I don't want to be moved by this desire. Right? And in that consciousness, we also have intelligence. It is not a dumb consciousness. So the question that you asked, that how do I relate with the world, now that there is a stepping back from the desire soul, our intelligence will guide how to relate, because it is not a dumb consciousness. It is an intelligent consciousness. And actually, it, from an ordinary consciousness, we can't really fathom how it would feel when I am in that state. No. But when we are in that state in any moment, then we will know how to act, how to behave, because it's direct knowledge, it is intuitive. You just know that you should be doing this or that. There is no planning, there is no calculation, but there is a knowing. Because consciousness is also intelligence. It is not a dumb consciousness. So we just have to trust that feeling. And as you said, the feeling that came to you, that it actually is a kind of a state of impersonality, because usually we are used to behave with people and interact with people in a personal manner, like we have interest from those people. personal interest from those people. But Sri Aurobindo shares that true love is like a disinterested love. Now, we don't know that love. All that we know is a passionate love and an interested love, a love that wants to possess, a love that wants to control the other person. We don't know what a disinterested, impersonal love is. And Sri Aurobindo says to that extent that true love, some people who have pure love, actually they feel that they are cold and indifferent because their love is not mixed with vital vibrations. So we can just imagine how that kind of a love is, which is pure and disinterested. It doesn't have any interest whatsoever. See, usually in our love, what is the interest in our relationships? There is some or other thing that we want from the other person. Some approval, some validation, some smile, some hugs, some intimacy. Some interest is there. And then wherever interest is there, there is also disappointment. Because when the interest is not fulfilled, then you are disappointed. And Sri Aurobindo says that this is a very bad mixture of lower vital needs with pure love. So this is what we have to refine. And it is actually a state of impersonality. Now we look at Sri Aurobindo, and the way he related with his people who were close to him. It's a very impersonal state and yet very full of loving presence. There are no sentiments attached to it. So we take sentiments for love, but love is not sentiments. Sentiments are away, actually, they take us away from pure love. They decrease the purity of love. Because wherever we are sentimental, we are just wanting our own fulfillment. So that's where Buddhism helps a lot, because it tells us that things of this world are very, very fleeting in nature. So don't depend on anything for lasting happiness. This mother also tells us, never depend on anything but the divine, she shares. But from time to time we forget this. And that personal aspect of love comes, that you belong to me, and hence this is what our relationship should be like. But that is not love. Mother says that is mostly an egoistic form of love. All that I want is to fulfill my own self through the other person. So this is what we have to step back from, and the guidance will come from within on how to behave, how to act, because it's an intelligent consciousness that is operating in the witnessing part, not a dumb consciousness. And the more the mind also becomes silent, intuitive guidance comes. Heart becomes free of turmoil, intuitive guidance comes, direct guidance comes in the heart. What should be my action in this very moment? That is what we have to trust. Yeah, I think it's only our life experiences that really, really tell us in which way now I have to go. Because if not for the life experiences, all these things that we read, mothers and Sri Aurobindos and Savitri's, words, they don't become alive for us. If I have not loved with a personal interest, if I have not suffered with that kind of love, how would I know that I have to refine my love? So it's beautiful to have these sufferings in life, these failures in life, because that is where I get to know where is my work now. What do I need to refine? Where is the imperfection? Yeah. Yeah. Anything more? Anyone? Okay. So I'm assuming nothing at the moment. going forward. Yeah, so this again, we can maybe go through. I can read again what Yuan had just read, and then we can take the new lines. So the question is, Mother, there are people who suffer from certain illnesses year after year, don't they? If one observes the illness, one sees that it comes at a particular time of the year, and this is repeated the next year also, and so on. But the time is fixed. Then, what is the reason and how can one get rid of it? The mother. There could be many reasons. It depends on the person you ask. If you ask an astrologer, he will tell you it is the stars. When the stars come into the same position, the same conditions recur. Well, this is not so far from the truth. It can be like that. It can also be an individual reaction to certain climatic conditions or to the position of the sun, or it may be quite simply a bad habit. That's all. And if you form by chance, if by chance it has happened to you twice in succession, then you have a nice formation. You see, which remains like this in the subconscient without showing itself if you don't observe it. And then, when the time draws near, very gently it gives you a push from within to tell you, take care, the time is coming, the time is coming, the time is coming. So, naturally, it happens too. Usually, it is something like that. But almost everything that happens physically is like that. The first time, it may be simply a combination of circumstances. Then the mind intervenes and makes a construction. So this is where we have to be cautious when we are making those constructions, to be conscious that we are making those. Yeah, if anyone wants to read, you can take up these two paragraphs.
Now, sorry. Now, if you accept the construction, you can be sure it will act automatically with clockwise precision. But even if you say, oh, nonsense, it is only an idea, and do this gesture, still the idea, instead of going away, enters inside into the subconscious, just the subconscious part of the mind, and there it remains quietly. And then, when it is time to manifest itself from within like this, it gives a kind of, as though it were tickling the memory a little, nothing more than that, just like this. If it scratches the memory just a little, then suddenly one day you remember, why, last year at this time I was ill, and crash. That is it. It has entered. It has entered the zone of the active consciousness, and a few days later, it happens. The body remembers for a very long time. If you want to be completely cured, you must cure this memory in the body. It is absolutely indispensable. And whether you know it or not, you work to cure the memory in the body. When the memory is erased, the body is truly healed.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
But how do we erase the memory? Because if memory is there, then it's there.
That's the question. Yes, yes, that's the question. See, the thing is that I feel, and again there could be several windows to the same thing. I feel that I am remembering something or the other all the times. Some rumination, some regurgitation is going on all the times. And that is where I have to change, because I have to totally turn to something really high, really lofty. That should occupy me, that should consume me. And if that doesn't consume me, then the lower things will keep creeping on and showing, their face in a bigger way. They may still be there, but they will be there, they won't have that much of grip over me if I'm involved something, at some place which is higher. So I feel that is why turning fully to the divine, all the thoughts, all the feelings in your empty time and in your whatever time you have throughout the day, whether you're working, whether you're cooking, whether you are driving, if we can turn all the thoughts and feelings completely to the divine, so that there is no place which are like, gadda, jaise, as if you have craters which are empty. And at one place mother shares, somebody asks mother that, mother, I have thrown jealousy away so many times from my being, but it still comes back again and again. So mother responded in such a way which also can be applicable here. Mother says that you removed jealousy, but you did not put anything beautiful in its place. So as if you have removed something and in place of it there is a crater, like a space, empty space, hollow space. Now since that jealousy has lived here for such a long time, it is not gone anywhere, it is just roaming about as a formation. And you have not occupied this empty place with something lofty and beautiful, like generosity. Rejoicing in the happiness of others is antidote to jealousy. So since you have not filled this space up with something positive, jealousy is roaming about and it sees that, oh, place is still vacant, my seat is still empty, and it comes back again. So when we are asking ourselves that how to cure us of this, all the bad memories, lower memories which are there, we know that they are there, we will have to rehabilitate our memory. We will have to think of, say, whatever resonates with us, which takes us, uplifts us, which consumes our life. So for me, it can be mother and Sri Aurobindo. All the time, whenever you have time, empty pockets of time, in between you are waiting for someone, you are walking around, fill that space with mother and Sri Aurobindo, so that there is no space left for the older things to creep in. So develop a new taste, develop a new love in our life. So that is how I'm creating a positive memory now. It's like I'm still thinking, I'm using thought, but I'm thinking of mother and Sri Aurobindo and mother and Sri Aurobindo. And then of course, whatever life situation comes in our life, we are ready to go through it. Having said that, because things are important in our life, we are here to learn. So if a life situation comes, I will learn through it. What's the problem? So not to be fearful of any situation, but to fill our time with good thoughts and good feelings. Because in place of that old, what we have removed, the old stuff, if we don't put good and positive stuff, the old stuff will keep coming back again, because it is his place. So we have to really nurture and foster ourselves in terms of thoughts and feelings and turn everything to the divine. I feel that personally for me that works very well, in the sense that if one resonates with Mother, Sri Aurobindo, or any form of the divine, to fill our being with that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And these memories will still be lurking around. This we can be sure. They are lurking around. But now we don't have much time to entertain them, because we have better things to do.
True. Yeah.
And as mother says, at other instance, mother says that we are always surrounded by the things that we think of. Whatever we are thinking of. Mother says you don't see those formations, but if someone has those eyes, you can actually see what kind of atmosphere you are carrying around yourself. Those people can see. So there are negative formations, they are dark, inky, like octopus ink, poisonous ink that it takes out. those kind of formations. And then there are beautiful harmonious formations also, and we are all the time carrying these formations around us. So that is what we have to work upon. We are carrying our atmosphere. And how beautiful if we can carry Mother and Sri Aurobindo all the time with us. How beautiful. Or any form of divine that one may resonate with. So that will be our contribution to the atmosphere of that place or that home or that workplace, rather than ruminating and regurgitating over and about our thoughts and feelings, which are always about me, 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 me. लोग मेरे बारे में क्या सोच रहे हैं, मैं लोगों के बारे में क्या सोच रहा हूँ. All the time, these things go ahead. So instead of that, why not carry Mother and Sri Aurobindo to have a good atmosphere? Yeah, anything more? Anyone? Yeah, so if we want to be rid of these negative constructions, which by default are there, it is like the design of creation is such that by default those negative creations can remain. And it is not out of fear that I am remembering the divine. It may be at times fear also, but it's not that I am fearful of the negative formations. It is just like acknowledging that these negative formations are going to be there. It's okay. But I am not going to focus on them. I don't want anything from them. I have better things to do and I have better things to think of. So I'll make those formations that I want to make. So not to accept these negative constructions that by default are forming. So this is like a slippery slope Mother mentions here in this first paragraph. The moment we engage with that construction, even if you say, oh nonsense, it is only an idea. So you are thinking about that formation, still it enters inside into the subconscient, where it remains quietly, like lurking. Like in Savitri, there is this line, an old self lurks in the new self we are. So it is lurking, lurking, and when it finds the right time, it can show up, it will show up. And then when it is the time to manifest itself from within, like this, it gives a kind of, as though it were a tickling a memory a little, उसकी याद आने लग जाएगी फिर से, something like that, it is scratching your memory. If it scratches the memory just a little, like this, then suddenly one day you remember, oh, why? Last year at this time I was ill, and crash, that is it, it has entered. It has entered the zone of active consciousness, and in a few days later it happens. The body remembers for a very long time. If you want to be completely cured, you must cure this memory in the body. It is absolutely indispensable. And whether you know it or not, you work to cure the memory in the body. When the memory is erased, the body is truly healed. So this is where our work lies. Whenever we are working with our thoughts and feelings, we are affirming, at times we are affirming. We have to feel that strength in the body. Feeling that power in the body of being with the divine all the time. That is what we have to do, because body, as Mother said, remembers for a long time. So again and again, if we want to change something in the body, we have to come back to the body. So only remaining at the thought level, it won't make that much of a difference. Come back in the body and feel that empowerment that comes from, say, remembering Mother's name and Sri Aurobindo's name, and affirming to ourselves that when they are there, everything is going to take a positive turn. I know when Sri Aurobindo, Mother are there, everything will take a positive turn for each and every one. And feeling that certitude in the body, that strength in the body. So slowly, because of the presence of this positive vibration, the lower vibrations, they kind of dissipate over time. They begin to lose their grip over us. So we have to keep filling our cups with lots of fresh water. And when all the time the fresh water is just pouring, pouring, pouring in the cup, then the cup doesn't have space at all for dirty water, because all the time the fresh water is pouring, 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 pouring. Imagine, there is a cup, and all the time the flow of Ganga river, fresh from the glaciers, melted from the glaciers, is coming, 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 coming. Even if a little bit of dirt will be there, where is the space for it to stay? It will just washed out, from that flow that is coming. So we have to keep that inflow also coming, of good and positive vibration, and to each his own. For each person, we may have our own ways to get that inflow coming. But that constant connection with that, if I can say, the AC socket, above, as mother uses the word, that psychic being is the wire, and divine is the generator, and the body is the lamp. So we have to constantly make that connection with the divine. And who is making the connection with the divine? The psychic being. And what is filling up the body with light and beauty and consciousness? The body is lit like a lamp, and the psychic being is connected, thinking of the divine, feeling the divine, whatever, however is our way. And like that, we keep the connection going. That connection has to be maintained, because if not for that connection, we will be connecting with something or the other. Mostly it is dark and negative. So by default, we are connected to dark and negative, and effort lies in constantly maintaining that positive, positive, positive connection. That is where our work as a human being comes, which is what mother has said, that as a human being, this is our task: transmute darkness to light, death to immortality, suffering to bliss. So wherever there is a raw material for our work, we work. Darkness is a raw material. So we work on darkness with darkness. So not to get discouraged when darkness is there, when desires are there. Desire is also a raw material. Now it's like my time to work, like that. Our weaknesses, our emotional, sentimental, imperfections, they are all raw material. So we don't have to get frustrated that why are they still lurking around. They will be lurking around because we have a lifetime employment with them. But we also have the courage and strength to transmute. That is why they show up again and again. Yeah. Anything more here? Anyone?
I was remembering, for those interested, there's a book called The Supreme, it's a beautiful book with conversations with the mother, transcribed by a disciple called Mona Sarka. And there's a dialogue there in that book where the mother speaks very specifically about this. He told her he had a problem on the knee, and then the mother explained very detailedly how you have to, your body, your own, even your body has to forget that it once had a problem, and you to work on this, to let completely aside an illness or a problem, so that the body itself can be anew and embody this new consciousness.
Absolutely, yeah. So Mona Sarkar, I think, had a problem with knee at one point, and mother said that you have to completely forget that your knee has a problem. Yes, and that is what we were discussing, that we have to fill our life with such good stuff, that we forget our little things, and then that new stuff fills the life, that there is hardly any space left, and slowly it actually loses grip over us, all the lower and the little and the trivial, which now becomes so big and bothers us. So that's a beautiful example, and the book is The Supreme. Yeah, Conversations with Mona Sarkar. Thank you for sharing. It's a beautiful book.
Monica ji, I have a
Yeah.
question.
Hmm.
See, we talked about the body being able to feel, and basically the body is only healed when the scars are gone from the body. Now, at least in my case, I don't recollect any part of the first 9 years of my life. Okay, so to me that is itself a lot of repressed memories. So in such a case, how do we really move forward? Because I don't know what the underlying issues are, right? So the body is showing up all these psychosomatic illnesses, all that is happening. Uh, Despite all the things that I have done in the last few years, it still remains a fact that I don't know much of anything about my first 9 years. So what else? Am I missing something? What is it actually? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm. I think many things, context to context, can help, and different people will get help from different things. So there can't be any one basic formula, but of course, at times, what helps is like, working with therapists who work with inner child and healing your inner wounds that you had in the childhood. That can work for some people. For some people, that may not work because just out of nature they don't connect with that. And you are sharing that I don't remember first 9 years of my life. Now we also don't remember how many lifetimes we had, but we may have scars from that. What about those? So if we go to what are the scars that I am carrying, actually there is unending scars that we are carrying, because we are not coming from only this lifetime, we are also carrying scars from previous lifetimes. You may have murdered somebody, or somebody may have murdered you in the previous lifetime. You don't have any memory of it, but some impression may be there. But the point is that the masters have said, and I'm not saying that, as I said, that everything is different and for different people different therapies or different things may work. Masters have said that yes, there is no beginning that you can trace. Where did it all start? But right now, in this very moment, you can have an end to it. We may not be able to trace the beginning or the root of our wounds. But right now, in this conscious moment, mindful moment, we have the chance to erase, if we don't act out of our patterns and act consciously, and turning ourselves to the divine more and more. If we act, that may any harm not happen through me. May whatever body, speech, mind, act that comes out of me, may I not do it with any personal selfish motive. If that kind of a purity begins to come in, then you can be sure that whatever past sins may be there, which all of us have, slowly we begin to erase them. So whenever it comes to you that I don't remember those 9 years and I may have something repressed, see, either work with the therapist and get to the thing if you really want to do that. And if at times we may not want to do that, which is completely fine, because if I'm healing those 9 years, then I would also like to heal maybe the previous lives. Now, how many lives shall I go back? Because there is no end to it. But what can I do right now? Right now, with whatever consciousness I have right now, I can turn that consciousness fully to the divine and good words that we read in the books and come across various teachers. If those teachings have gone inside of us, then we can make use of it, and whatever little time we have right now, that can become more beautiful, more conscious, more disinterested, more impersonal, that we were talking in the beginning. Impersonality is a healer. Personal things are always giving us wounds. The moment impersonality begins to come in our being, it is a true healer. So will depend, on what is your individual journey, what is your liking.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. At times it helps to connect with some therapists who work with past life regression and inner child. If something is weighing, some kind of dreams are coming to you again and again, something is weighing on your head. If you are relatively okay and are able to be in a good mental and intellectual, and the heart is also okay, if things are taken care of relatively well, then I would not recommend that one should go into these therapies and unnecessarily, bring out things, which is not a very good idea. And there is a purpose why we don't have memories of our past lives. There is a purpose behind that forgetfulness. We won't be able to live with all the baggage that is there from all the previous lives. But if something weighs heavily, then it can help to go through that inner child therapy or family constellation. Nowadays many tools are available, some of them very very good and helpful. So dealing with an expert therapist may also be very helpful at times. So you have to choose.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Anything more, anyone? So we are here on page number 90, and I suggest we can stop here today, and rest of it we can take next time, starting from but are unfortunately here. So if we can, just kind of reminding us to fill our life with beautiful thoughts, beautiful feelings, turning them to the divine, making our being more impersonal, and getting rid of our personal motives and desires from this material world and manifestation. That is a true healer. And if we can have that stepping back, then we can also have this offering of our loving presence to this world and people around us. So sharing and dedicating this merit, collective merit and individual merit of all these reflections, reading good words, listening to each other, understanding about ourselves and others, sharing this with all the innumerable sentient beings who are also wanting to be truly well and truly happy. May we all be truly well, truly happy, and may we all the time remember to have a constant connection with the true source of energy within, with the divine. And may all the suffering, causes of suffering and suffering be taken away from us. May we not suffer. May we be truly well, truly happy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Monica.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.